Hey everybody, this is Andrew from T is for Tech, and this is my second part of the Synology DS920 Plus videos that I've been doing on the channel. In the last video, if you can see in the link above, I unboxed the Synology 920 Plus, took a look at it, looked at the Synology hard drives, and just kind of did an unboxing, right? Talked a little bit about the specs of this device, kind of went over that. So in this video, what I'm going to do, I have not yet set this up. So what I'm planning to do is kind of go through the setup process, and I may speed this up or, skip sections or whatever, depending on how long this might turn out, because, there's going to be some probably rebooting of the device and things like that. But what I basically want to do is just go through the setup and show you what that experience is like. And only thing I've done so far, I put the memory in. So in the last video, I talked about upgrading the 4 gigabytes of, adding 4 gigabytes of additional memory. So the total memory would be 8 gigabytes. So I did put that in. I put the 2 NVMe SSD drives also into the case, which will act as caching drives. So SSD cache. And I also installed the 4 Synology 8 terabyte drives. So all I did since then is I plugged it in. I plugged it into my network switch on my network, and I went to the URL or to the IP address that it showed up on my network as, and this is the page that loaded. So I'm going to go ahead and click Setup. And basically, the first thing it's going to do is want to install the Disk Station Manager. So that's the DSM operating system. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. It basically says all the data on the hard drives will be removed. Yes, that's fine since they're blank anyways. And now this is going to run, it says for approximately 10 minutes, but not sure how long that will take. So we'll kind of just watch this go. And it looks like it's going to do some formatting of the drives, download the Disk Station Manager installation, and do whatever it's going to do. So I'm just going to be quiet here and let this go, and continue when I see something new on the screen. And then one thing I should say is I only have this plugged into one LAN connection on my switch or on my router in my home network. I do not have a switch that supports link aggregation, so that might be something I'll have to look into in the future to see if I can connect up the 2 LAN ports instead of just having it on one. But like I said, right now this is just operating on a one LAN cable connection. So that happened pretty quick. I don't know how long this restart will take. Looks like there's a countdown timer for 10 minutes. Okay, so that finally restarted. And now we get to the create an administrator account for the Synology NAS. And this is going to be used to log in and manage the account or the device. So I'm going to call this actually Disk Station 3. And username, I'm going to call it admin. Just for now, this is what I'm going to... I don't know if it's going to let me use admin. Oh, I guess I have to enter something other than admin. That might have changed because on my older Synology device, I had a 2-bay device. It let me do that. So I'll just call myself. So weak password, I'm going to change this stuff in the future, but I'm just going to call Disk Station 3 because I have a couple other devices on my network that I called 1, 2, and now this is going to be the third one. So I'm just going to call it that. I'm not going to set up the Quick Connect right now, but the Quick Connect allows you to, using a Synology account, easily access your disk station without using port forwarding or having to do anything on your router. I'm not going to use this because I'm going to set up basically an external DNS for this and then use port forwarding on my router to open this up to the internet. But I'll again, do that in a separate step, but this is a way you can easily access your device if you don't want to go through setting up a dynamic DNS or something like that if you have not a static IP, which most people don't. So it's a nice feature, but I'm not going to use that. Yes, fine. Yeah, fine. Go. So does smart updates, etc. Device analytics, remind me later. So just if you look at this really quickly, it says access all built-in install packages from the main menu. This is the package center, so it's kind of like the app store for the Synology device. Obviously, you have a control panel and all of that. I recommend turning on Security Advisor. I'll do that later. So right now you'll see it shows the disk station 3, shows my local IP address on my network, which I'm also going to try to change later. I'm going to do a pre-assigned IP address on my network, which I'll change. And then out of the box, okay, Synology Package Center, fine. So what's really nice about the Synology disk station devices is there are tons of different packages you can install. So there's backup packages, you can see antivirus, audio station, cloud sync, document viewers. There's some paid applications obviously as well, but most of this stuff is free. So file station, which allows you to browse the files on the device, backups, hyper backup. You can use this as an iTunes media server. So if you want to put your iTunes library on the device and then access it via Macs and iPhones and things like that, you can do that. You can set up a media server. There's a migration assistant if you're kind of moving between Synology devices. Moments is like a Google Photos type of thing, so it can catalog and have all of your photos on there, which is pretty cool. Similar to PhotoStation, there's two different applications for doing that. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff. I'll get into some of this in the next video maybe. But for now, just kind of showing that there's tons of different packages and add-ons, and Synology Office is kind of like Google Docs or something like that, where you have a bunch of different sheets and slides and things like that you can do. You can install web stations, so you can host websites. You can turn it on VPN, so you can VPN to your network from outside of your home, get onto your network, just a ton of stuff. And then there's even third-party packages. So like things like Plex and Plex Media Server, which I have used a lot in the past on my network. So you'll see there's a variety of kind of packages and things like that you can install. And then there's even some beta packages occasionally on here as well. So out of the box installed, you basically only get kind of the file station and the search. So what I'm going to do actually right now is go into the storage manager, because we'll need to go ahead and set up a volume or volumes. And basically you'll see here, like the system's healthy, but there's unused drives. So there's no drives set up. There's no storage pools set up on the device. But you can see the hard drives that are here. So we have the 4 hard drives, the Synology drives, and then the 2 cache devices. So maybe what I'll do quickly is go ahead and create a storage pool. So basically you get to select storage pool that you want to create. There's a couple different options here. You can create something that has a single volume that has better performance, or you can create higher flexibility because you have multiple volumes. You can have multiple volumes and flexibility and space allocation. I'm just going to take a quick look here. Now, as you can see on the storage pool, there's a bunch of different options on the RAID type. So you can have Synology Hybrid RAID, which you can start off with any number of drives. So you can use 1, 2, 3 drives, etc. This Synology Hybrid RAID 2 requires you to use all the drives, which I can do because I have the 4 in there. And you can combine drives of different sizes, etc. And then you have your typical RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 10. Basic, you can just have some drives and then you can migrate them to RAID 1 or 5 in the future. GBOD, so just a bunch of disks. So a bunch of drives, one drive starting. You can add, 2, 3, 4 drives, but there's no redundancy because it's not really a RAID. It's just a bunch of disks. And then RAID 0, if you want more higher performance and you don't care about, a single drive failure will cause data loss, you could use RAID 0. I'm not going to use RAID 0 either. So again, I was just flipping back and forth. So what I'm going to do here is just go with the Synology Hybrid RAID. Again, this will allow up to 1 drive to fail without having any data loss. Synology Hybrid RAID 2, up to 2 drives can fail. I don't have that need in my home network, so I think that would be more for business critical type stuff. If you have a small office and you really can't risk any data loss, and you might be afraid of losing 2 disks. Potentially also you would use this if you have a larger array. If you had 8 or 16 drives or something like that, I would then definitely say, your chances of losing 2 drives at once might increase the more drives you have. So potentially using that there, but with only 4, I'm just going to go ahead and use the standard Synology Hybrid RAID. I'm going to add all 4 of the drives to that RAID. Okay. Protection for 1 drive, and with the total capacity, I'll have around 21 terabytes there. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. So this might take a long time, the verifying the drives in the background, and doing parity consistency checks and all of that. So I do have storage pool 1 now. So I can also then go create a volume on the storage pool. Fine. Choose an existing storage pool. Now I guess I could have done it the other way and just started to create a volume, which then would have created a storage pool as part of that, but I did not do that. Now I am going to use the BTRFS. Go ahead here. Set this up. So now I have a volume 1 on the storage pool 1 with a total capacity of 20 terabytes. Almost 21. So we'll go ahead and let this create. Now, I don't know how long this is going to take. Okay, so it's done. But again, it's going to take a long time to do this background check. So we've got the storage pool set up, hard drives listed here. Now I'm going to go ahead and create the cache. Now we're going to do read-write cache because I do have 2 of the SSDs in the device. If I only had 1, I could maybe just do a read-only cache. But since I have both of them, I'm going to go ahead and set it up there. I'm going to mount them on volume 1. Whatever. Choose a RAID type. I can only select RAID 1 here. What's the max? Okay. Okay. So I'm just waiting for that cache to get created. And now you'll see it shows up as being healthy, 232.88 gigabytes. And then here, once you have this thing up and running, you'll be able to see kind of like the cache hit rate and all of some stats around the cache itself. So obviously this is only going to really be useful once you have a bunch of files and you're starting to use and access the files. But it's kind of a cool view to see. So you have the volume, it's verifying in the background, storage pool setup, all this stuff. So So that's, I think, all I need to do here. If I open the file station now, I can then start to create shared folders. So go ahead and start here. So I'm going to set up a shared folder. I'm just going to call this one business, I guess. Enable recycle bin, that's fine. I'm not going to encrypt it. You can actually do encryption. That's fine. It's fine. And right now you'll see there's an admin, and then there's Andrew, who is the user I created. I'll give myself read-write access to that share. Say OK. And now I have a file share. So I should be able to then access this via my network and start to put files there. So that's cool. You also have a ton of different ability to share on your network. You can set up FTP, all kinds of stuff like that. But this is all I'm doing right now. So right now, I will have a file share on my network called business, and I'll start to put some files in there. I'm actually going to migrate some things off of a different device, a Drobo device that I have, and kind of put all those over onto this disk station. And I'm not going to do that as part of this video, but I just wanted to kind of mention that I'm going to kind of migrate some stuff off of an old, and it's not a network attached storage. It's just a Drobo device that's attached to another PC in my network, and I need to move all that stuff over onto this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But anyways, that's all I really wanted to cover in this video, and it's basically, again, it was the second part of this. Basically starting from turning the device on after the drives are installed and getting to the point where you have it set up on the network and there's a storage pool and a volume and everything is set. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and do some more work there, getting some of my files transferred over. And then in the next video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about potentially off-site backups using different cloud storage and syncing the Synology device and folders to those. And we'll go into a little bit more detail around how I might set that up in the next video. If you have any questions, go ahead and post those below. This is Andrew from T is for Tech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.